Okay. All right. Everybody. And we're off. I do believe it's 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. And it's Monday. Everybody loves Mondays. February. Last Monday of the month, by the way. Not that that means anything that I know of. February 24th, AD 2025. And we're going to get started with a fun, loosey-goosey, the Hake Report show. I did get some super chats to read, guys. So do check that out. We do have some fun super chats, informative perhaps, super chats coming in. I have some news to cover. Cash Patel. Oh, Lord. Shout out. We will get to your calls if you'd like to call in. 1-888-775-3773. What's up, Mark, Steve, Chris, Faith, Harmony, Dion? I'm live on punchy.tv/Hake and X, I think, probably. What's up? Oh, thank you, JLP, for raiding the stream over on Rumble. Rumble.com/The Hake Report. Make sure you make a Rumble account, by the way, guys, because that's the only place, or maybe probably the best place, to find Anchor Baby. You can also find him Gorgon's Ola. And I say Ola because Ola has an H. Gorgon's Ola over on D Live as well, okay? But he's American Anchor Baby on Rumble. And he's going to figure out, it's just, this little temporary thing going on with his YouTube channel, okay? So no sweat. But for the time being, you got to catch him on Rumble. You don't gotta, but I do recommend it. Highly, highly, highly. Okay? Nice. I mentioned Cash Patel. Shout out. He is encouraging his FBI staff people to ignore Elon Musk's email requirement. Is that undermining Doge? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's saying that wasn't meant for you guys. I don't know. But exciting stuff happening in the world today. Okay. Joy Reid got fired. You're out of there. She's one of my competitors. Over on MSNBC, she's getting replaced by a panel show. A panel show, kind of like what we have, I guess. We're kind of a panel show. Punchy TV, American Anchor Baby, Joel Friday, Hake, and then sometimes another co-host or a guest or two sometimes. Very nice, very cool. So I'm excited about MSDNC's new developments. Somebody speculated that maybe because some people don't find, although I do, some people don't find Joyanne Reid, that to you, very as attractive as she once might have been. It's tough being a woman, I imagine. So we're wishing Joy Reid well. We're wishing her well. So that's that. It is Mexican Monday. Get excited because we're going to make it very Mexican in the last 5 minutes of the show, leading up to the last 5 minutes before Joel Friday TV, who is going to be coming up in less than 2 hours. Okay. Ooh, that was a snap. So anyway, guys, let's just get right on with the you guys doing? I am fine. I have a nice spiffy shirt on. You guys probably seen this before, but it's a button-up shirt. Nice. And it's loose. And it's loose fitting because it's supposed to be about 73 today. Not to brag, but it's comfortable, we'll call it. Over in SoCal, Southern California. What a mess. I wanted to read a little bit of news to you guys because I didn't get to everything that I meant to over here on the Hake Report, the news. So if you go to thehakereport.com, you can follow along, but you don't have to. There was a scare with an airplane that flew over. It was supposed to go to New Delhi from New York. New Delhi. Sounds appetizing, right? But it's Delhi, I think. But I don't know how it's exactly pronounced. But they were diverted to Rome, to Leonardo da Vinci Airport. There was some type of threat or a scare, but it ended up being non-credible. But people were panicking in the cabin, according to this little CNN report, Commie Nonsense Network, Italian Air Force jets, for once, they had to help us out. An American Airlines plane. They escorted us, we'll call it, to Rome. I wasn't there, of course, because of a security concern. It ultimately proved non-credible. You don't have to put to be. You can leave out your to be verbs in that case. The flight was on its way from New York to New Delhi, India, Sunday, abruptly diverted, causing panic in the cabin. Don't panic. Look at these. Look, there's a Italian jet thing accompanying the American Airlines jet passenger plane. Awesome. And this is a view from a cockpit of another jet accompanying it. Pretty cool, huh? Wonder if I can... Oh, no, come on.
The best-selling
go away, I don't care about you. Okay, so an American Airlines flight, and it went to... Did you know there was such a thing called Leonardo da Vinci International Airport? Oh, man. He was an inventor, I heard. Leonardo da Vinci. He's a painter, a Renaissance man, I think.
You can save...
I don't care about Toyota, but shout out to Toyota. Here.
We make it easy.
I don't care about you and your... Sorry about that. That's pretty brutal. Was that loud? It sounded loud to me. Let me turn it down. Wow, isn't that awesome? Hey, it sounds like some of the music that some of you guys listen to, and Hake, too, a little bit sometimes. Okay. Italian Air Force, 23rd of February, Sunday. Turn this down. Just crackling. Pretty cool, huh? Instead of saying, oh, this is kind of fun, they were scared. What a mess. They loved their thrills of panicking. Don't panic. And it ended up being not even a valid concern. Better safe than sorry, though. Non-credible security concern. They haven't gone into the details of what it was. Inspected by law enforcement after landing at Leonardo da Vinci International Airport, cleared to re-depart. So they had a stop-off in Rome. Isn't that cool? The flight will stay in Rome overnight to allow for required crew rest before continuing to Delhi as soon as possible tomorrow. AP reporter filmed 2 fighter jets flying over the airport shortly before the unscheduled landing. That's not what we saw. Fire trucks in the landing strip. Neeraj Chopra, one of the... Pardon me if I'm butchering your name, Chopra. one of the passengers aboard, all of a sudden we're hearing all about Indians. All over, they're like everywhere all of a sudden. I never heard about Indians, hardly, when I was a kid. You know, you would see them with the dot in the forehead. India Indians, I'm referring to. But they're everywhere now. And they're all over the news. Is it like a reticular activator? Like, have they always been there and I just notice? The plane had to turn around about 3 hours before it was supposed to land in New Delhi because of a change in security status. Chopra, traveling from Detroit, Michigan, went to New York, flew from New York towards New Delhi, went to visit family, described the mood on the plane as calm after the initial announcement, but said he began to feel stressed, oh boy, when the captain later announced fighter jets would be escorting their plane to Rome. I felt a little panic of, okay, what's going on here? Chopra told far-left extremist anti-American AP, by the way. Gotta be like something bigger going on here. Jonathan Bacon, age 22, from Dayton, Ohio, the sundown town, started paying attention to the flight tracker on the seat back in front of him. I like looking at those sometimes. You guys ever go on the airplane? Diversion due to a security issue, said the captain's announcement. Noted he observed the plane's sharp turn away from New Delhi en route. Oh, come on. Oh, let me not judge with words, reactions, gestures, tone of voice. Passengers had no internet connection for much of the flight, with only some spotty access that clued them into early reports, blah, 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 blah. All the passengers were loaded onto buses and taken to the terminal. Their personal items underwent additional security screenings, slightly heightened, especially for arrivals. Wow. Longest flight to Europe I've ever taken, said the 22-year-old. Huh. Wow. Well, so it was all for nothing, though. Isn't it interesting how you never know? And some people might say, oh, I don't mind stressing out because it's such a relief afterwards. And so they like stressing out over nothing and then feeling the relief afterwards. They know no other way. But I don't think that it's really necessary. There have been crazy things that happen on planes. It makes me think of that Flight 93 or whatever, where the guy says, let's roll. And then these American men come and beat up Al-Qaeda, or whoever hijacked those planes in 9/11, 2001. That ended up being a serious thing, but stressing didn't do any good either way. They say it's best to be cool under pressure and calm. And I agree with them on that. So you can do the right thing. Ooh, crazy. So shout out to you guys who went through that. You actually went through nothing, but you went through it. Okay. Back to the news. And then I will get to your calls and everything, guys. These federal workers have to get their emails in. Get your emails in. Let's see if the ladies at the Skim have anything worthwhile to say about this. They say, actually, this email should have been a meeting. Oh, give me a break, ladies. You know how... But I like it. It's kind of clever. Ladies at the Skim, far left females at the Skim. This is from the news. Elon Musk, it was sort of big news on X, sort of viral. Got to submit your emails, 5 points of what you've done this past week in your job, in your cushy government job where you're overpaid and underworked. And overstaffed, by the way. You know how nurses say, and they might be right, nurses say we're overworked, understaffed, and underpaid, or something to that effect. Because they work 12, 24-hour shifts, I think, something like that. I don't know. And they've kicked out all the independent thinking and strong and vax-refraining men, or the men have self-deported from that industry, the so-called health/medical industry. They've gone off to be truckers. I had one caller from Ukraine, I think, who was a nurse, a male nurse, but a valid one, a manly one. And he did not want to get the flu shot when Obama-era type people started pushing the flu shot down the throats of everybody working at the hospitals. Ridiculous. And he refrained from doing that and said, you know what, I'm just going to go be a trucker. And so now he's a trucker. I don't know about now, but at that point when he called me, he was a trucker. Shout out to the truckers. Many truckers listen to Hake and JLP and others on the JLP network. They're getting understaffed partly because they're kicking out all the best people. I mean, they're making it the best people unwelcome. But anyway, the saying goes, this meeting could have just been an email. Nobody likes meetings lots of times. But this email thing that Elon Musk wants you to do should have been a meeting. So say the ladies at the Skim. They're switching it up, you know? There's Elon Musk, the chief of the Department of Government Efficiency. What's happening? Elon Musk is happening. So the Sunday Scaries, the ladies at the... I've never heard of the Sunday Scaries except from the ladies at the Skim. But have you ever experienced... I can relate to it. Have you ever experienced the Sunday Scaries? Oh no, Monday's coming. Back to work. Back to school. It's coming. I better stress out. I shake my head. They arrived early for nearly 2.3 million. Can you believe it? Federal employees. I call them leeches, but that's dehumanizing language, so I disavow that. I guess that's judging with language. After Elon Musk and Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, gave them an ultimatum over the weekend in a mass email, Elon Musk, based, we call him, using the term very loosely, ordered workers to respond with a list of 5 bullets, meaning points, detailing what they accomplished last week, a tactic he deployed when he took over X, which is to say, formerly known as Twitter. He warned on social media that a failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. Oh yeah, in your face. We are taking the axe. We got to delete large swaths of this government waste called the bureaucracy and 2.3 million so-called federal employees. I shake my head. Elon Musk's move came just hours after our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, cheered him on. Oh yeah, urging him to get more aggressive. Cue chaos. Chaos. Chaos is in their hearts. That's their fault. And fear, because they have the spirit of fear. They don't have the spirit of power and of love and of a sound mind and self-discipline that God gives. Across multiple federal agencies, basically the new normal. The new normal, because they're scared and they want to panic and they want to act like Trump and Elon Musk are the problem when they're the problem. Several agencies, so-called, at least a few, the liberal media in general, abuse this word several, including the FBI, State Department, and Department of Defense, essentially told employees to ignore the Doge email. Wow. Wow. Even including Kash Patel, I heard. The new India anchor baby, whatever he is. He's Gen X, I learned, not millennial. He has a year and a half on Hake. He was born in February 1980. State Department, Department of Defense. He has a crooked nose, kind of like Hake, too, by the way. But anyway, I think. Essentially told employees to ignore the Doge email. Democrat lawmakers slammed the request. Fire them, too. Not that you can. Minnesota Senator S. Tina Smith. I think that sounds like a female, right? A Democrat. Put it bluntly. Lumping Musk in with other billionaire hole bosses. Sorry, kids. Don't read that out loud. That's what we need a return to, Tina Smith. We need, like Anchor Baby picked up on this, because I've said it many times, but I've heard Anchor Baby reiterate it. We need those old school whole American men running the show, like Mark. We need this man running the show. Hi! Send in your email, which is pretty nice, honestly, or you're fired. Give me a break. You're overreacting that you have to submit a little report of what you did last week. And a lot of you guys did a whole bunch of nothing. I don't know if I could list 5 things I did. I took notes, took the timestamps. I did the church podcast. That's 2. I helped a little bit with this design thing that I'd messed up. I talked in a meeting. So you can see the trembling in my hand. Would Elon Musk fire Hake? Would Trump fire Hake? I can only think of 4. That's why we need old school don't say that word, kids. American billionaire bosses. Oh, yeah. In your face. Guh. I think you guys might like this. You guys might appreciate this. This goes out to Lin Yun Chin. He says that I fail. Let's see. Okay. This is what I would say to Elon Musk or Lin Yun Chin. Here it comes, guys. This is what I would say. This is from a beautiful movie from the late, great, he died. What's that guy's name? You guys know. Bruce Lee. This is not Bruce Lee, though. This was a failure person. An employee, a star employee. Star of many, one of the main sort of bad guy underlings. A lackey. This is what he says.
But I always do my best.
Then how come you failed?
But I always do my best.
Then how come you failed?
I always do my best, but I always do my best. Then how come you fail? How come you fail? Old school, and that was a white man telling the Asian man, how come you fail? Except he's bad guy. So get out of here, Tina Smith, you so-called Senator S from Minnesota. Aw, she looks nice. Tina Smith, U.S. Senator S. This is first I've heard of her. Running her mouth. 66 years old. She's been around a little while. Anyway, no, I want to zoom in a little bit, find out what this gal is about. Smith. Christine Elizabeth Smith, Tina for short, retired an American politician, retired Democrat political consultant, former female businessman, serving as the junior Senator S from Minnesota. Democratic Farmer Labor Party, communist, affiliate of the Democrat Party since 2018. She's married to Archie. Descendants. she has descendants. Wow. Mason Smith and Sam Smith, not to be confused with the beer or that gay singer. She was lieutenant governess of Minnesota. Wow, what a mess. Wow, and she's using harsh language. She's using the bleep word against Elon Musk. Mama swooping in. Evil mama swooping in for the do-nothing liberal government so-called workforce. Ultimate D-word boss move. That's what we need, lady. Anyway, cabinet leaders' orders to ignore Musk's email for now mark one of the first major challenges to his authority. Despite Musk's threat on X, there was a great point made about this email thing. It is a perspective shift or something to that effect. Despite Elon Musk's threats on X, lawyers say the firings would be illegal. Be quiet, lawyer liars. You don't know anything. And unions, evil unions, already gearing up for court. Top it off, Office of Personnel Management, OPM, also known as Federal HR Human Resources, get rid of them. Abolish them. Weighed in saying agencies will determine any next steps. Elon Musk has since tried, or actually justified the ultimatum, claiming it was just a test to root out fraud, which there's no evidence of. They make a claim without any evidence that there's no evidence. And to make sure employees are checking their emails. Unclear how, oh boy. If you ever send me an email, send me another one, follow up, if you want me to see it, because sometimes I'm wrong. I'm wrong. OPM or Doge would even process all the responses or track who's ghosting them. And if that wasn't enough, reports say that email was even sent to at least one judge and some law clerks. Oh yeah, get rid of those judges too. Like if it costs much to send an email, just send an email errantly to judges and so-called law clerks. Trump is using merch to profit off his political agenda. Oh, good. Like that's something bad. Give me a break. You're supposed to. Duh. Big report from Axios. All right. So that's a little bit of the news. I do want to get, maybe you can tell me what's going on in Germany, by the way. But I always do my best. Then how come you fail? I love it. Let me get to Daniel in Texas, who's on the line over here. Daniel, thank you for calling and holding, man. What's up?
Hi, James. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm calling on a follow-up to a caller you had last Friday who was talking about engines and exhaust gas recirculation.
Yes. Manuel in California was talking about how Elon Musk is cutting government waste and government evil over regulation and mess like that. And he's like hoping and praying that we also get to deal with the California over-regulation of, for example, diesel engines. Yes.
Okay. So that was Manuel?
Yeah, Manuel from California.
That was Manuel who was talking about...
He's the one who introduced the topic, at least. Other people have called in, including you, about it.
Okay.
I think.
I didn't know if he was the same one that called before that. So I am tracking it the same person.
He introduced the subject of he told me all about EGRs, as did you, I think.
He knows what he's talking about. There's some things I want to clarify that I know where he's getting some of this information from. In the military, he talked about vehicles in the military not requiring exhaust gas recirculation. He is partially correct.
Okay.
That is only for combat vehicles. That is expressly combat vehicles. For everything that's not combat related, which is basically 90% of the military vehicles, they do have to follow those regulations, and they are very stringent.
Oh.
On that. Yeah.
You're
So I
talking
just
about
wanted to
that military thing. Because I showed
he's
a
not
headline.
wrong.
I showed a headline that corroborated what he was saying, that they don't pay attention to that stuff. They want efficiency, reliability.
Oh, they do. They do pay attention to that stuff. The reason they don't put it in their combat vehicles is because their combat vehicles require weapon systems that weight is everything. So they need to accommodate weight for various weapon systems. It has nothing to do with life extension or anything like that. And it doesn't have anything to do with preservation so much as it does weight requirements for weapon systems. Does that make sense?
Okay. All right.
So that's the key takeaway. The other thing was he was talking about the intercooler. And this is partially my fault. I had said that the EGR cooler pushes cooler air into the engine. Well, it's not real. It's cooler exhaust. The combustion requires oxygen and diesel. So that when the exhaust is circled back in, the exhaust is not pure oxygen.
Right.
So it's not. So when I say cooler air, it's not really cooler air. It's cooler, but it's less. It's less air.
Less oxygen.
Less oxygen. You're going. So it's a different way of cooling the engine because you don't have as much air producing as much heat. So you have less fuel, less air, less heat, because the rest of the volume is taken up by something other than oxygen.
Yeah.
Now, the intercooler, what it does is it forces more cooler air because air is denser. The intercooler forces cooler air, but then you do have to have the ratio of fuel with that cooler air to accommodate that. But that's not what's going on with that's not a replacement for reducing NOx. All that would do in a diesel engine is produce more NOx, and then you'd have to identify, well, how do we reduce the NOx?
Huh.
Because you would be pushing more air in with more fuel. There is a way to cool a diesel engine by doing pilot injection, which preemptively squirts fuel, and the fuel, when it's cooler, cools down the internals. So that is a way of cooling down the engine. But once again, we are taking various factors. We are taking injection, metering of the fuel, the atomization of the fuel, the timing of the fuel, and the pressurization of the fuel. And all of these things can be changed at any point in the engine, and which means that certain engine components do different jobs and different means of metering it. So removing one from the other does not necessarily affect any of the same stuff.
Huh.
Am I making any sense?
I mean, I don't really follow it. I don't.
Okay.
This has to do with diesel engines, right? You're getting into the particulars of diesel engine efficiency and regulation and stuff like that.
Everything I'm saying, you can basically transfer over to regular gasoline engines.
Well, yeah, same thing. It's all Greek to me.
Okay. My point is, these systems, like the exhaust gas recirculation, is a means of reducing heat in a particular way, in a way that would reduce NOx, that an inter-air cooler would not do. And I know that people are up in arms about it because they don't think that feeding the exhaust into the engine is a great idea. But the point is the cheapest way to reduce heat. That's the bottom line. There are expensive ways to reduce heat, and there are cheap ways to reduce heat. And It all comes down to economy. And if you have the expensive way to reduce heat. You can use certain elements, but you might not get value for what you're spending on the elements. And then you got to protect those elements. So, like there's precious metals in the...
oh, boy.
Yeah, you're getting into precious metal stuff.
And then people come and steal this stuff out of
People
your
are going to
car.
come and steal,
In this
you
low-trust society. So the solution is deport, jail, cut off the hand, metaphorically speaking.
Well, the solution is basically these things are not going to change the way people want them to. It's kind of like you go into a workplace and you have all the skaters, and you have all the people you have like 10% of the people doing all the work, and you have all the skaters, and you just have to find a way to live like that.
All the skaters, the people who skate by and don't do the work?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's basically what you have. And the reason you're in that environment is because you're trying to find a cheap way to live well.
Yeah. Huh.
And that's what's going on with engine systems as well.
You sound like you're running defense for the oppressive regulatory government apparatus.
Well, I'm sure it does.
Don't you sound a little bit like that? Not that you are, but somebody could construe you as doing that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I can be construed as a Nazi as well.
I know. All kinds of things.
All this diesel talk coming from this guy, I don't know. He sounds kind of like he's real into this German technology.
True. Because I hear a lot from, or have heard over the years, a lot of griping, and I think that a lot of it is justified, from these different businessmen with regard to, let's say, painting and finishing of cars, of cabinets, of whatever, all kinds of different things. The solids, we have this Air Quality Management District, AQMD, which has more stringent regulations than even the EPA, the oppressive Environmental Protection Agency, on the number of solids they allow, so-called solids, whatever that is, and things allowed in their paint and their clear finish and stuff like that. And they basically made it so that, I don't know if it's just the operators, us, our way of doing it, but we couldn't get the finish to stick in some cases. Our finish would peel off, our stain and our clear coat would peel off of the cabinets within less than a year. And there were all kinds of things along those lines with making of cars, making of cabinets, manufacturing in the country. Whereas stuff from China, they could pollute all they wanted, if you will, but their stuff was bulletproof. It wouldn't come off of the cabinets. So the cheap Chinese stuff had a better finish than our stuff. We tried to use all kinds of different things, from expensive to cheap to whatever. And again, I don't know. Maybe it was the Mexican who was painting. I don't know. But you hear all these business owners complaining about these regulations, and I think they have a point. But I get that there's reasonable people like you who know that there's also a point to some of the regulation stuff.
Yeah, there is a point to a lot of it, and maybe it doesn't apply to you, but guess what? You're in the industry.
Yeah,
So it is what it is, and I mean that's just life.
Yeah, it totally is. You have to work with people who are unreasonable, and in some cases there's reasons that you don't understand, and the world is evil, and the government is always going to be oppressive in mama spirit on some level. Yeah, because that's the people in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. To quote Bill Clinton, "I feel your pain."
Yeah,
I feel your pain.
True.
These regulations they're awful. They don't apply to you, and you still have to follow them. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't think. But at the same time, you should try to find a way, because the people who are going to develop alternative forms of energy are going to be the people who are using the current forms of energy. It's not going to be other people. The people who are going to figure out how to get energy from electricity are the same people that are doing it from oil and gas. They're the same people.
Right.
They're in the energy business. They're not in the oil business. They're in the energy business.
Interesting. Interesting statement. It's true. It sounds true. Nice, man.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, Daniel. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Huh. A quick couple of super chats, guys. Over on buymeacoffee.com/the Hake report, Popcorn stated, I did a little bit of research on the Christian health share that you mentioned on the show that you use in lieu of traditional health care coverage insurance, you know. It's an interesting concept. Yeah. How has that been for you? I read some of the pros and cons, but it would be nice to hear from the perspective of someone who actually uses it. I don't really think about it much, Popcorn. I just pay my fee. Monthly, by fee, I mean I send a check or a PayPal to the person whom they tell me to pay and how much and what it's for. Oh, such and such just had a baby. Or, oh, such and such experiencing stomach pain itis. Or, oh, this person split his head open. Or, oh, this person has cancer or something. I don't know. This person broke his arm. Send $300 to this person. Or 301. Something. I do it. I don't think much about it. And I have used it. I have gotten people sending me stuff for when I've gone through stuff. And the idea is you're supposed to live like a Christian. No S out of wedlock, sex out of wedlock. No drinking or no drinking to excess, certainly. No smoking, I don't think. Different Christian good practices. So the idea is when you live like a Christian, you also have better health, right? Because a lot of God's guidance is for your own good. So it's gone up like crazy. I think it used to be like $200 or less 10 or 15 years ago whenever Obamacare forced us to buy it. But I was glad that I stuck with it even when Trump got rid of the individual mandate because I ended up having to use it. So, you know, this health share, it's basically kind of like an insurance. So I've never had normal insurance that, maybe I had when I was covered by my parents. Must have had it when I was covered by my parents. But as an adult, I've only ever had this one. I mean, that I know of. As an adult, did I ever go to the doctor before using this Christian health share thing? From 18 through, oh yeah, I did. I was under lucky for me, I guess I was under my parents' thing. Went to the doctor at least once when I was in college. Did you go to college? So, I don't know. I do support having a good car insurance and having like a high deductible so that they cover a lot for you. And you try to avoid accidents or whatever, but you need it. It's there. It saves you from having huge unexpected expenses. Same thing with your health, I think. Nice. Thank you, Popcorn. There was another Rumble. Of course, he's going to have it. Wow, whatever. There was another one from Popcorn that I'll get to in a sec. I got to get to the ones from Lin Yan Chin. Lin Yan Chin. He gave several, or at least a few. They were over here. Scroll down a little bit. Let's see. When mouth breathers speak, says Lin Yan Chin, they pronounce, oh no, I already read that one. Wait as waiting. Wait as wade. This is due to swollen speech system like motorcycle. Motorcycle. Don't make me say motorcycle. Motorcycle. It's normal. There's a T in there. Motorcycle. It's not motorcycle. Motorcycle. Just let me say it fast. Anyway. Lin Yan Chin all in my head. Unlike mouth breathers, in humans, the nose dumps brain heat. I think I read that one too. Via thin membrane in the sinus system. Warming that air and cooling the brain into clear focus. Humans don't gasp words into ugly noises. Robert is nice, grumpy, frustrated, and a bit compromised by the pulse of hate for the very evil he desires to destroy. Yeah, shout out to Robert. He's kind of like me, says Lin Yan Chin. Indeed, Lin Yan Chin, except my primary foe is mouth breather degeneration of this language and how that hampers the space age. Interesting point, Lin Yan Chin. You know how mouth breathers disparage common sense as a so-called anecdotal anecdotal. Sorry. How they replaced it with prescribed sense. I wonder how many people stopped listening after they heard that. How they replaced it with prescribed sense as in, what's the context? It's to kill advanced sense of inner stillness. They hate truth. They hate what women call God, says Lin Yan Chin. That's so true, man. That's so true. It's kind of like what I've been trying to tell people. Instead of jumping to the first thing that pops into your head that seems to contradict a statement, like what they tried to do with Jesus, what they tried to do with Trump, when Trump said they're rapists. Well, not all of them are rape. You think all Mexicans are rapists? Give me a break. That is evil. What JLP says, that's the truth. They just, first thing that comes into their head, that just to argue, rather than pausing and pondering the truth of what's stated. I shake my head. I shake my head. I shake it hard. What if I tell you mouth breathers, single mother raised, what if I tell you mouth breathers, single mother raised children, redheads, it's sort of red, you can't really tell, but it is. I don't know how you guys think that it's brown. And atheist folk each operate at 66.6% of the maximum setting of their Jesus particles. Yeah, I saw you mention that it's what I do. Each category stacks the detriment to minimize the sense of God down to 29.5%, which is subhuman. Whoa. Man, oh man, oh man. They do say redheads are hotheads. I was also called Freckleface. Brutal. Well, thank you, Lin Yan Chin. So what if you tell us that? I'm not a single mother raised child, I will have you know. Not to dox. I don't know if I'm atheist. But anyway. Well, thank you, Lin Yan Chin. That's love. And quick. What's up, guys? Hey, how come you're not so active over here? Lunas is Monday. Is it streaming? Let me make sure that I'm going. Let me refresh here. Because I'm supposed to be live. Oh, no. What? No. Look at what they did to me. That stinks. Am I still alive, guys? Let me start up a new Rumble. Let me see if it creates a new Rumble thing. Do. That stinks. Monday. Na. Hang tight, callers. I'm just going to fix this one thing. I should be live on all things, right? Okay, I'm going to toggle off and toggle it back on, I guess. Dude, what the Hake? 1,000. 2, Mississippi. 3, Mississippi. 4, 1,000. 5, 1,000. 6, 1,000. 7, 1,000. And pop it back on Rumble. Dude. Ugh. Makes me mad. Okay, now kicking it back on. It's a new stream, guys. Oh no. You guys were already there. Ooh. Test. Dude, I was live here all the time? Where is it then? Here, let me refresh this page. Rumble stinks. Shout out. Here, let me go to the live streaming area. This is important, guys. See, this thing went live for about 5 minutes, and then I went over here, and I toggled off the stream, and then I toggled back on. Yeah. Sorry, guys, Rumble dudes. First show lasted a few minutes, then I refreshed, got this show, says Takcho. Thanks, man. Lin Yan Chin is nuts, and I'm not sure is human, says Jules Verne. Well, I know. I mean, he is Asian and Jamaican. And Canadian. Look at that. That's what I feel like right now. All right, I gotta get to Manuel in California, who's on the line over here. Manuel, thanks for calling and holding, man. How you doing?
Dang, sound like you're having a breakdown.
Yeah. I didn't realize that my stream had dropped and it restarted on Rumble. It's crazy.
Darn.
Yeah.
Man, you guys' church yesterday was amazing.
Right? It was so good.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to it again right now when I'm done, or after your show. I'm gonna listen to it again. I was really amazed with it. It was really good.
Yeah, it was really nice. Rebuildingtheman.com/church.
Yeah. Daniel called about the NOx and all that.
Yep. Nitrous
I understand.
oxide. And nitrous oxide is that stuff that emits into the air from engines, diesel engines.
Well, anything that burns hot, that can be from a lightning strike.
Oh, wow.
Engines. Just anything that burns hotter than a certain degree, because the nitrogen gets involved or something with it. But I get what he's saying. I still hardcore believe get rid of it completely, but I understand by using the EGR to cool the NOx down back in the engine, it'll cool the actual combustion of the cylinder. Just in that one moment, it cools the temperature down. I get that. But I don't feel that's a good idea. I still believe pump that engine full of pure oxygen.
Interesting.
That's just my opinion. I like power,
Right.
The more air, the more fuel, the bigger the bang. So you get more power. But, for generator purposes or like creating energy for like running a generator on a diesel motor, like that's how most trains run. Man, you can produce some real power out of a diesel if you just let them run.
That's so cool, man. That's interesting.
Anyways, I know this is not like your topic and all that. The engines is kind of confusing, but like even this is confusing to most people. 90, or I don't know if it's 100% of what I'm going to say is true, but I know at least 80% of your friction and power loss comes just from the rings in the piston, because that's one of your highest friction points. The free spinning of like the bearings in the bottom end, there's not a high resistance on those, but most of your power loss comes from your rings, because that's where most of your friction's at. And that's a hard concept to understand too, because that's just like a tiny little lip, and you're like, whoa, why is all the friction coming right at this little tiny point? But you know, as more and more that I've learned about engines, I started to learn more like that.
Yeah.
See all that.
I remember, you know, basically like noise, heat, wobbling, vibration, things like that. Those are all wasted energy. It's something that I learned in, I think, like high school physics.
Right. You can blueprint a motor, which means like, say you got a V8, each cylinder has its own connecting rod and caps, bearings, pistons, rings, blah, blah, blah. So what you do, you blueprint it. So you measure each individual part and you make sure they weigh exactly the same. So if something needs some weight taken off, you shave a little bit of metal off. If it needs weight added, you add a little more weight by welding something to it. But you blueprint the motor so every single piece weighs the same and it just spins freely. There's no resistance. There's no misbalancing. And it'll run a lot smoother and a lot more efficient. But they don't blueprint motors like that no more. They just, you know, slap stuff together and call it a day.
Wow.
But anyway, you know, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah.
This is like stuff that I grew up on, is motors. Like, I remember growing up, my dad would buy us like manuals on how to rebuild motors and transmissions, not like read To Kill a Mockingbird or something. You know, we'd be reading manuals, how to rebuild a carburetor, or transmission, or a motor, or something.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. I can't remember the lady's name. Remember the lady that gave the speech during Trump's church thing, that church lady?
Yes.
You guys covered it. Jesse didn't. I didn't really care for that lady, too, but Jesse covered it. That lady was getting money from USAID. Or
USAID.
Yeah.
Who said, "Have mercy on migrants" in Trump church. Was she I heard that she was getting USAID money. Let's
That's what I heard too. I was like, wow. I've been meaning to call him, but I just keep forgetting to bring that up every time I call.
Mariann Budde, the bishop woman.
Crazy. If she's getting USAID money, man, why are they getting money like that? They shouldn't be getting that.
You know what? And the implication is that she's that's her motivation. But even if that's not her motivation is all ego, phony, evil, feel sorry for criminals, evil mama spirit. And I'm not saying that she's not getting money, and that's not her motivation, but I resist chalking it all up to being all about the money, because for some people it might be, but for a lot of true believers, if you will, true suckers, true mama spirits, it's also this ego thing about, oh, have mercy, which is not what it's about. Mercy is deporting sometimes. Right. That is the right thing to do. Anyway.
Yeah, I feel that way because, well, I don't know really. I was going to say, because it as a nation we need to have some rules that we all follow, because without that, then it's no longer a nation. So it's like the mercy to the nation, like, yo, we need to follow through with these rules. If not, then there's no point in even having them.
Yeah.
And there's no point in having our own country.
According to an opinion piece by Don Barnett, January 31st, in New York Post, center-left New York Post, I would call him, Episcopal bishop, some people call him right-wing, lectures Trump while earning, using the term loosely, taxpayer millions to bring so-called migrants into the U.S. Episcopal Bishop Mariann Budde's sermon to President Trump during inaugural prayer service, coupled with her church's advocacy for humanitarian immigration programs, reveals a striking hypocrisy, this person calls it, one that could be seen as self-serving and even a conflict of interest. Federal contracting arm of the bench of the church, Episcopal Migration Ministry, EMM, is paid to bring in people on resettlement programs, Refugee Resettlement Watch. Ann Corcoran, shout out. I don't think she's active anymore. That Trump is temporarily paused and targeted for re-evaluation. Ah. In 2023, it earned $53 million from various taxpayer-funded government programs to resettle a measly 3,600 individuals. $53 million for a resettlement of 3,600. So they got $53 million to push in thousands of people whom we don't even want in the country and shouldn't even be in the country.
Right.
That's crazy.
That's
I
like
do know
nearly
that happens.
That's like nearly 15 million per person, or not? No.
I don't know. I was about to try
Okay,
to do
I'll
the math.
go.
Let's see.
13.
53 million
3,000.
divided by, what was it, 5,300? I don't know.
53 million by 3,000.
I can't do math. Well, mental
Yeah.
math. Come on, let's do it. Let's not just say I can't do math. 53 million from blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, 3,600. 3,600. Ah man. Okay, no, that's not 53 million divided by 3,600 people. It can't do it.
Yeah, I'll do it when I get on the phone. I was going to get on speaker, but I don't want to put it on speaker right now. I got the washing machine going.
Nice.
I wanted to ask you some other questions.
Okay,
though.
14, almost 15,000 per person. 14,722. Is that right? 53 million
Sounds about right.
divided by 30. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, it's,
I'll do the math when I get off.
that's your assignment, kids, if you're watching. If you have already done your math.
Slow your numbers. I have some questions about the Bible, though, since you're a homegrown Christian. So I've never read the Bible. I just started reading the Bible a couple months ago. And, man, I read Job, and I always hear everyone talk about, like, Job, how good, or just a lot of people talk about Job. To me, I was, like, kind of confused by the whole story. I kind of felt like he didn't get an explanation. I get it. God doesn't have to explain anything to anybody.
Right.
But, like, I mean, even at the end of it, I would have been all like, yo, man, my bad, Joe. The devil was trying to play a game, and, I wanted to prove to him that, I'm going to win this game. But he didn't even explain that to him. So I was, like, kind of confused by it. What do you perceive the book of Job about? Or what is the lesson that I should be looking, not lesson, but what am I missing here?
Well, in the book of Job, Satan went to God because Satan the accuser said, Job, said to God, Job only likes you because you've blessed him greatly. So let me at him to test him. And God's like, Job is the real deal. Go ahead. And so Satan had Job's sons killed, I think, famine and disease on his livestock and on his person. His wife was nagging him to curse God and die, put himself out of his misery, something like that. And he was a mess. And his friends started scolding him, as I recall, talking about, you must have done something wrong, I think, to that effect.
3 of his friends.
Yeah. And he remained faithful and said, I love you, Lord, I think. But he also said, I didn't deserve this, or I didn't do this, or he started to lament a little bit. And then God
Right.
came and like, who are you to complain? Is this true? Did he say something to that effect?
Right. Were you here when I did whatever, built the earth or set the time or hung the stars or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to question these things? I get that. It's just,
And
I
then
was
he
so
blessed
confused.
him. He blessed him after that with all that
Right.
he had, new sons. I don't know if he got a new wife, but he got more sons and his health back, and he had more afterwards.
Yeah. I don't think my wife ever died.
I know it partly because I had a simplified version of it in Arch books. I grew up on Arch books, Christian little illustrated books. And so they sort of they simplified it. So the lesson was he remained faithful even in adversity, faithful to God, even if he expressed doubt and was kind of a complainer a little bit. He had sores and boils, I think, on his skin. Ugh.
Right. That was like the second time around when the devil came and was like, oh, skin for skin or something like that. He only believes me because he's not sick or something like that, or his body's not affected, so he went after him with boils and stuff after him.
Yeah.
What about Psalms? Like, I'm reading through Psalms right now.
Uh-huh.
Man, it's kind of hard for me to read because I'm starting from the beginning and I'm going to go all the way through it. But I'm going to read it again, but Psalms is kind of confusing. I don't know if they're like prayers or songs.
Yeah.
Or even,
I think they're a mixture.
Right.
They're a mixture of different things. Some of them are by David, but not all of them, I think, are by David. They're put together, and some of them are to God, purportedly. Some are more like instructive to the people. And some of them are kind of complaining / pointing out the evil in oneself, in himself.
Are they prayers or are they?
Some of them are, not all of them.
Like a song, like a hymn. Is it something like that or no?
I think some of them are kind of like a hymn. They're sometimes, I feel like some of them are just reminders about what your attitude toward God should be. Because I think one of them is one of my like favorite verses. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And it talks about all the things that God does for him. That's in Psalm 23, I think. That's probably the most famous psalm. And I think that one is by David. And so it's just meant to remind you about God and be a sort of like a vocalization of a prayer to God sometimes. Or just a call for people to remember their God.
Yeah, I'm not like Psalms 100 or 101. I'm just going through,
Yeah.
little by little, because I want to read. I really want to get to the New Testament. I don't even want to read the Old Testament. I have my little
you're going
Bible.
from start to finish?
Right.
And so you don't want to skip
I
ahead?
wanna read some, huh?
You don't want to skip ahead to the New Testament?
No.
Okay.
I want to. I've been wanting to. I've almost, oh man, I don't know how many times I've almost skipped it.
Yeah.
I don't really care for the Old Testament. Like, in my mind, I do not care. But I need to let that go because I'm judging it, because I have my little biases for a certain, group
Right.
of people.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that you had that.
I don't have nothing against. I just see nobody's, like Jesse, like you guys say too, nobody's good. Nobody's good. There's no good in human beings.
Yeah.
And so I know they aren't good, so I know I'm not good.
Right.
So I look at it like that, but it's just like, you see stuff on the internet and you're just kind of like, oh, okay. You hold that against them. So I'm trying to let all that go. Like Jesse says, don't judge with your eyes, your gestures and stuff like that. So I'm trying little by little to let that go. So I'm really using this Old Testament to catch myself judging people.
Did you know? I don't know if you started from the beginning, right?
Right, yeah.
Did you notice what I noticed, that the people play like they want to follow God, and then they have like a good king, and then they have a bad king,
Right.
and they forget God. They do well, and they get spoiled. Did you notice, like, that's the human nature in it? That's relates to everybody, I feel like.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, just working with, obviously this is nothing religious, but, you know, I'd go to work, and I'd go work with these guys, and I'd pick up a little bit of knowledge, and then I would, like, completely forget everything else, you know, forget what people taught or what others taught me the right way, or I wanted to do things my way since I was the one in control now. I felt like, oh, I'm in control. Like, same way with them. Like, oh, I'm in control. And then they end up failing. And then God's like, yo, come back. What are you guys doing? And they come back and they do the same thing over and over and over. The human nature takes control and they start doing what they feel is best.
Yeah.
What they feel is like, oh, we want a king now. And God was like, yeah, have fun with that one.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be my own king. I want to be my own boss, you know. So I was doing the same exact thing, thinking I was getting a different result when I was still just, you know, lost, not knowing what I was doing, ego. So, like, just reading through that, and I'm like, wow, man, like, they tried, but then they all failed.
Yeah.
And then what they tried, instead of, like, coming back to God, they just tried fixing it with their own problems, like finding a new God or cursing him, or let's go back to Egypt, you know, like giving up. And it's just a big old mess. But that's why I want to read it, because I want to, like, understand, like, what the whole point from the beginning to end of the Old Testament that led to this New Testament. Something happened to be like, yo, this is not working. This is a new way.
Interesting.
But, you know, I'm still new to this, so
Yeah.
picking it up a little.
Nice. I like that story of Job, going back to Job, where Satan is accusing the guy, because that's what happens in your mind, I feel like, and in other people's minds toward other people, where something is going well and you think, oh, you're only happy because you're living high on the hog type of thing.
Right.
That accuser inside of you and inside of other people is the devil. I like that. I relate to that a lot. And
Yeah,
I liked
I
how
can
he was
relate.
called the accuser, I think, in Job.
Where, oh, the devil?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's in my Bible. I have like 3 different Bibles now, so I just read through different ones to
Right
figure
on.
out how far the language is off.
But I would say, don't try too hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know that. I know not to dig too deep, and then I'll start just confusing myself. So that's why I figured I would ask you, since you've read them a couple times, and shoot some of my opinions off of it, because I don't know a whole lot of people to talk to about the Bible. I got a couple friends I talk to that are religious, but most of them aren't.
Nice.
So I figured I'd call you and ask you about it. You got ideas on it.
Right on,
I just
man.
got to push myself through the rest of Psalms now, because I'm kind of not irritated with it, but it's so long.
I know. I forced myself to read Numbers. What a mess.
Yeah, that was rough.
Thinking there's maybe the Holy Spirit's going to reveal something to me from this. From such and so, from Manasseh 5,000, from Gad, from Asher.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's I feel like the notion of reading it all the way through is really, it's sort of following man, because man put it together. Maybe man was inspired by God to put it together that way, but it's, to me, it's just it is a obsession, like they say, obsessive compulsive disorder. You don't even know why you're doing it, but this is okay, whatever. It's not like it's wrong to read it straight through necessarily, but it is a false obligation to read it straight through the way that you're doing it, I think.
Dang. I guess I'll skip to the New Testament. Then.
Yeah, dude. If you want to be orderly about it, and this is the only way you know how to be orderly about it, go ahead. But don't feel this weird obligation to do it the way that they did it.
Right. No, my whole thing with reading the Old Testament, I want to understand like where the Jews, Israel, Zion, whoever they are, like what happened and what went wrong.
Yeah.
And what were the signs on the way there? I kind of want to pick up on that. But my new way of thinking is like, well, I really don't care what they did. I want to know Jesus and only Jesus.
Yeah. But I think it's good. It's cool to be, don't write people off though, like JLP will talk with people and everybody else who is watching the Snake Pit, for example, they'll be bored out of their minds. They're like, next caller, no patience, no eagerness for understanding of your fellow human being from whom you could learn. You could realize some stuff about yourself and about, and even about God from hearing even like the fallen state person whom you judge as not worth listening to.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I love listening to that. Like Jesse, you guys just trying to conversate with, get the whole conversation out, because then you can learn from it,
Right.
There's more to it, just the surface level to it. Well, anyways, I'll quit bugging, let you get on.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye.
Take care. Before I get back to the calls, there is one line open, but it is Super Chat time, I think, right? I think there's another Super Chat here. Yeah, Popcorn's Thump Keg bought a coffee. With regard to the term DEI hire, do you generally understand that to mean someone who doesn't have the merit, experience, training, etc., for a job at which they were hired? Or can someone who has the merit still be one? Yeah, someone can have the merit. For example, I'm interrupting his Super Chat. For example, I suspect, and I don't know, but I suspect that George H.W. Bush appointed the one-term president, because he said, from what I understand, he said, read my lips, no new taxes. And then he got bamboozled into doing new taxes. And so he was a one-term president. But one good thing he did was appoint or nominate Justice Clarence Thomas, who was black. And I think he might have replaced another black person, but I don't remember exactly. Not that I would remember, but that may be the case. And so you could call that affirmative action or DEI. But it turned out Clarence Thomas is no slouch. He understands the wonky. Wonky means you have to understand stuff. You have to be able to comprehend and understand stuff. Cases, better than any of them. They passed them to him. I heard from independent journalist Mike Cernovich said that about Justice Clarence Thomas. And he's the most solid conservative guy. Sometimes I don't agree with him, probably, right? But he's an American patriot and a solid judge, true justice on the Supreme Court. So he has merit. He turned out to have merit, even if the spirit of H.W. Bush, the daddy, was this diversity mess, because those rhinos. He turned out to be a rhino. But anyway, the gotcha, continues Popcorn, in diversified hiring is that when DEI policies go away, the number of minorities that get hired go down. Some can say, well, they didn't have merit. In many cases, I think that's true. But the minorities who are hired still get viewed as DEI. Oh, right, de facto DEI. What, dude, don't get mad at me. You know that's the case, that happens. A minority is a DEI hire until proven otherwise. But we forgot to mention you can't prove it, bigots. Well, Popcorn, that's the world. The world is evil. Don't be bitter. Be better. Don't be bitter at the bigots. Yeah. And that's why it's best to have a good attitude. Otherwise, you're going to be proven. You know, when somebody calls you something, you live down to that name or you live up to that name. Somebody calls you a B word. You start acting like a B word. That's sort of a warning not to call everybody what you see them as sometimes. At least not to their face, especially not with a spirit of judgment. You got to watch your mouth, even if it is the truth. Be wise, slow to speak. Because, yeah, he's right. A lot of people will judge a person, and that's because this is the nature of the people, everybody. Don't concern yourself with what other people think and say within your life. Let people think that. Understand why people would think that. Understand it, because de facto DEI, you know that does happen. California outlawed, or a judge struck down affirmative action in the state of California in school admissions, but they still do it effectively because the people have that mindset. Oh, good, a black. Even the conservatives get all excited about it. Oh, they act just like the liberals because that evil, lame-o, kiss-up, look at me, evil, sick, disgusting, unfair, unjust, overly giving, overly generous. Human nature is corrupt. So don't be mad at the evil of the world, popcorn's thump keg, if you are, I don't know. Don't judge the bigots. Did you know that a bigot is somebody who, according to the dictionary, until they changed it, and the dictionary is fake news, is a someone who can't deal with disagreement of other people. And so the people crying bigotry against the right-wingers are themselves what they were accusing the right-wingers of being. Nice, popcorn. Right on. I'm glad that you, yeah. But some people do say DEI hire with an evil, nasty, judgmental spirit. But not everybody who does that does that. Some people do that with a spirit of love and truth, like JLP. So, nice. Let me do it. Hey, what's up, guys? My Rumble is working. It's horrible. What's up, D-Live crew? Look at all these people supporting. Thank you, Severio Jones. Giving away subscriptions. Pretty cool. Oh, no. Anyway, let me get back to calls. Jason, a first-time caller in Las Vegas, is on the line here. Jason, thanks for calling. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Hake? It's really good to talk to you, man. First of all, I super appreciate everything that you do and everything that Jesse does and the whole team. I found you guys recently, maybe 4 months ago or so, and I've been just really, really into it. I've got a couple of Jesse's books. One of them is signed, and you guys are amazing. You're really, really helping a ton of people, and at least I could speak for myself. But there's one thing that I kind of disagree with that you guys brought up the other day. We're talking about the Super Bowl halftime performance.
Okay.
Do you remember talking about that?
Yeah. Yes.
So everybody's kind of general consensus was, oh, it should have been something else. It should have been someone else, someone more representative of America or whatnot. And I, being a huge Kendrick Lamar fan and really excited about his Super Bowl performance, I was a little bit flabbergasted by your guys' take on his work, on his art and his message.
Uh-huh.
So this guy Kendrick is really, really, in part, due to me coming back to God as a thought, or not a thought, I shouldn't say that, but it's in part thanks to Kendrick's messages in his songs that brought me back to the light and brought me to Jesse and brought me to your show. And it's without people like Kendrick Lamar, Russell Brand, and Jordan Peterson on YouTube talking about God in different ways that it reached out to me. It brought me to Jesse. It brought me to your guys' truth. And I think that is kind of what Kendrick is here to do, is to show people that God is cool. I mean, let me just say this for a second. I think there's a ton of people in the world who turn God away because they don't feel like it's cool or hip, or it's not something that their friends are into, so they just kind of turn a blind eye. That's kind of my experience when I was a child, growing up in a city. I was like, oh, church, okay, I'm a little kid, let's go to church with my parents. And then as soon as I became a teenager, it's like, hey, this isn't cool, let me go do cool stuff. And I was playing sports, and I was getting into music and learning about the world and everything. Eventually, I got into hip-hop and learned that there's a difference between rap and hip-hop. And I think that that's a difference that goes underappreciated and underspoken of. Nobody really gets that hip-hop is good for the world and for people, and rap is just kind of like gloating and trying to boost your ego. So if we could just understand that there's different types of artists out there. There's rappers, and then there's hip-hop artists. Kendrick Lamar is a pure, true genius of a hip-hop artist, a Pulitzer Prize-winning hip-hop artist.
He won a Pulitzer?
Writing. Oh, yeah. He won a Pulitzer for his album, Damn. It's so amazing. All of his work is so intricate, multi-layered, there's deep meanings in his rhyme, and he does it in a cool way. And that's the most important thing, is like kids these days can be like, hey, this is cool. And when they really, really listen close to it, there's a message of God there. He's saying, hey, God
is this his
real.
older
God
stuff?
is the answer.
Is this his older stuff or his newer stuff?
Both his older stuff and his newer stuff. Now, his older stuff, he was born the same year as me, so that's kind of why I've got a soft spot for him at 1987 represent right here. But,
Doxed.
His older stuff was him being a little bit younger, introducing himself to the rap game / hip-hop game and making a name for himself. But he's always been honest. And that's something you don't really see so much in rappers is honesty. Everybody's just clout chasing and trying to get new cars and jewelry and stuff. And it's like, no. The honesty is being yourself is God. That's the truth of the world. And that's what Kendrick's landed on time and time again. Now, he does explore other kinds of thoughts, but what kind of person doesn't? And if you're honest with yourself, you'll realize, like, yeah, you've had thoughts about different types of religions, or maybe this is right, or maybe this is wrong. You can see that he's gone through that in all of his work. If you listen to his albums, not only is it that honest, good representation for kids, for the youth today, to find something cool to look up to that brings you to God, but he does it in such an impressive way. His vocabulary, yes, a lot of it is slang, but once you understand the meaning of the slang, he takes that and he twists it in such a appealing way. It's like, you seem to be a wordsmith. You seem to be a guy who's really into your words. I don't get how you missed the train on Kendrick. He is really, really brilliant. And I just really implore you to kind of give him a chance. Maybe see if you enjoyed it all, and then stick up for him next time he gets brought up. Because I appreciate both of you guys, you and Jesse and the whole team, so much that it kind of hurt me when you guys just like rushed the Super Bowl performance off to the side. I mean, it's a big, huge stage with so many people watching, and for Kendrick to take that stage by himself and to do it in such a classy way, that's again so many meanings in his performance, so many meanings in his rhymes, in his lyrics. It's so deep that it's just like, man, you can't brush this off. You can't just walk right past it and say, man, I didn't like it. It shouldn't have been something else. Not you guys, not Hake, not Jesse. You guys are for good. You guys are for honesty, you know? So I'm just kind of just throwing that out there to let you guys know that Kendrick is a real one. He's for the goodness of this earth, of these people that we call humans. And he brought me back to God in part. And I just have to say that so that more people can kind of give him a chance if they haven't already. I see a huge divide of people reacting to the Super Bowl halftime show. Some people, like myself, were like, oh my goodness, this is great. Yes, finally, this message is getting out there to the masses, like real masses. And then I turn around and I see half the people who watched it were really not enjoying it and really writing it off as some kind of mumble performance. And there is a huge difference between mumble rappers and what Kendrick Lamar does. He is deliberate with his word choice. He is not a mumble rapper at all. If he seems like he is in a chorus to one of his songs, it's literally to catch the cool crowd, to say, hey, look, I can do what you guys are doing. I can fit in. Look at me being cool. And then he slides in the God message. And I just need to throw that out there. Some more people can, I don't know, give him a chance. He's really, really amazing.
Right on, man. Why were you bothered?
Well, because you guys have a platform, and you guys are the platform that I'm watching all the time. And Kendrick is somebody that I listen to frequently, not all the time, a little bit less now that I'm more into the silent prayer and the teachings that you guys have brought to me. But I just, something inside of me like irked when it was like, hey, wait, you guys are usually right about things, but you're wrong about this thing. So I just wanted to kind of catch you up and let you know that Kendrick is on our side and we're on Kendrick's side.
Well, we shouldn't really necessarily take sides. I didn't think of it as that serious of a thing. Like, I actually complimented the first 24 to 48 seconds that I caught of his show, because that's all I caught of it. I did agree that it was very black, so it was kind of par for the black thing. What did you think about the fact that he used a song that was bashing a fellow hip-hop wonderful artist, Drake, and he used his platform at the Super Bowl to bash Drake?
Well, now, in my perspective, Drake is not one of the hip-hop artists. There's a divide there between hip-hop and rappers. Drake seems to be very much on the evil side.
No, but what did you think of
Kendrick's?
I didn't ask you what you think of Drake. What did you think of the bashing of Drake?
Bashing?
Because that was bashing him.
It's, okay. I feel like it was long overdue, and I feel like it's gotten to a point where something this big had to be done, had to be said for people to kind of be shaken loose of their infatuation with this bad side of music, this rap, this Drake essence that is out there in the mainstream, so popular, it's so big, where all he's talking about is sex. He literally has a ton of, or excuse me for using that word, but he's got a ton of music that
for using the word
degenerate.
sex. Sorry, kids.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one.
Sorry, kids. But it's really degenerate, and he focuses on that because that's where he gets his profits. And anyone who's just focused on that isn't really gonna care about a good message being presented to people to help them in their lives.
So you think
grow,
that you think that
God
his,
or anything like that?
You think his little bashing of Drake awakened people and shook people loose from their worship of worldly things?
At least a handful. Yeah. I know a ton of guys that I went to college with who were Drake fans, and I just never got into him. And I checked in on them after the whole beef started between Kendrick and Drake, and they've kind of like let go of Drake and realized, oh yeah, what was I thinking back then? And it's like, okay, good. So there is something good coming out of it. The bashing, I think, is more shining a light on truth and not so much bashing. But if Drake is out there living this big lie, profiting off of it and influencing young children, but with
so you don't think Kendrick is all about ego too? No different from Drake?
Not all about ego, no. I don't think so.
Is he at all about ego?
Yeah, absolutely. Some. He's a human being, just like we're all human beings. He's not Jesus Christ. He's not perfect. But the messages that he explores in his songs shine a light on
okay,
his...
last question about this.
Go ahead.
Nobody understood what he was rapping. No outsider understood what he was saying.
Sure.
Is that true?
Quite possibly. I wouldn't say no, because there's like 110 million people or something viewing it at once, so it's possible that one of those 110 million people who was an outsider could have understood the words that he was saying.
So what was good about the performance if they didn't understand him, largely?
Well, it was recorded, so you could go back and you could watch it again, and you could have it not in a bar setting or not with a Super Bowl party setting going around, but you could sit on your toilet, let's say, and just give the performance your full attention, or, you know, in a dark room, and you're not being distracted by chips or hot dogs or, you know, a Super Bowl party. You can actually give some time to the performance. And when I went back and watched it again, you can understand what he's saying if you're just open to it.
Is that because you already knew the lyrics?
Possibly.
You sound like a fan. You sound fanatical.
I am a fan, but what's wrong with that?
It means that you're fanatical.
Does that mean I'm like not able to see the picture clearly?
Yeah, you're emotionally caught up in identifying with his what you feel that he did for you in helping you point you towards God, as you say. Mm-hmm. And then you forget it to the point where you forget about God and lose your religion over somebody not giving him the proper respect in your mind. Like, by lose your religion, you get mad. Like something stirred in you that we didn't see it the way that you see it. And so we brushed him off as just another big black display. And it was ghetto. And that bothered you. Whereas if you'd really, knew God, you wouldn't be shaken at all by our silliness.
I'm shaking right now, just talking to you.
Yeah. So keep on working on you and checking yourself on stuff like this too.
Okay. Yes.
Because it's not good to be fanatical about anybody.
No, you're right. Could I go back to one thing you said earlier?
Yeah.
On how I picked a side.
Yeah.
Now, is this is just a question because I'm curious right now. Isn't there two sides? Isn't there the good side and the evil side? Shouldn't we pick the good side?
No.
No?
Yeah. Have you noticed that the people on the good side, the Christians, the Trump supporters, they forget God too.
Of course.
And you deemed Kendrick to be the good side, and you saw us, who you see as on the good side, going against our fellow good side by pooh-poohing Kendrick. Mm-hmm. And now you've taken sides in an inter-church. Let's pretend Kendrick is part of the church, right?
Okay.
And now there's division in the church. In you towards us, in Christian Kendrick fans versus Christian Kendrick poo-pooers. And so there's sides in the church, and there's not supposed to be sides in the church. It's supposed to be, we're supposed to be one.
So this is us on the outside looking at his art, but I don't think that he is as fanatical as I am. I think that's one of my flaws. I think that
that's why I'm pointing. That's why I'm saying you shouldn't take sides.
Sure, and I don't think he did.
No, I didn't say he did. I said you did.
I absolutely did.
Yeah.
I see my flaw now. Thank you for the conversation. You're completely right. Yeah, not everybody's going to like the same stuff, I guess.
And I don't remember saying anything really that bad about Kendrick. I was the most complimentary towards him, actually.
You're right. It was more
I'm
the
like,
way that I
it's
felt
par
about
for
it
the blacks.
I got all bent up about.
Say again?
It was more the way I felt about it that I was bent up about.
Yeah. I'm glad you called.
No, thanks for taking my call.
I thought that 90-pound wuss brought me to God because they were serious about being Christian and stuff like that. And Jeff Suffering I think he is beside himself going against Trump. But I still appreciate him. I don't know if he brought me to God or not, but he's said some things in his lyrics that, I'm talking about this Christian punk rock band, okay? He said some things in his lyrics that I appreciated. I appreciated his intensity and his seemingly like seriousness about being a real God seeker or whatever, or really being honest about the evil in him. I appreciate that about him, but I don't want to get into some fight with him just because he thinks that the Trump administration is Nazi-ish. You know what I mean?
Sure. So to calm down my fanaticism, what would be a good suggestion? Because I see this being a problem in myself, and I would like to have less problems in myself.
Well, just be patient with yourself. I think you agree that you were fanatical, right? And that fanatical is not necessarily good. Let God work that out. As Jesus said, watch and pray that you fall not into temptation. So keep on praying and watching. And don't trip, because then you don't want to just be all pridefully trying to knock down all the bad stuff in your heart.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time or the other caller's time. Thank you again for taking my call and entertaining my ideas.
The Bible says, work out your salvation with fear and trembling, because it's God who works in you to will and to act according to his good will. Something like that. That might be NIV, but it's close to it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with NIV in my eyes.
Nice. I mean, you think Kendrick is godly.
I really do. Maybe it's just.
And I don't hold it against you. I don't know. I haven't really paid attention. Joel can talk to you about him.
Maybe I should call Joel.
You definitely should.
Cool.
If you like.
All right, Hake. I appreciate talking to you so much.
Are you black or white?
I am Irish Mexican. I check white on my job applications.
Based. Right on, Jason. A white Hispanic.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
Yep. I appreciate you.
Yeah, me too.
Talk to you later.
All right. Bye. Great call. Huh? Tim in Dallas, Tejas, Texas. Tim, what's up, man?
Well, when you're an Irish Mexican, all you really need to do is check the white box.
I love it.
That's awesome, man. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. So I always think it's interesting how people are still talking about this Kendrick Lamar deal.
Yeah, I didn't know that people still were. I'm like, whoa. But I'm glad he brought it up. It was bothering him to this day.
Man, that's bothering people to this day. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. You never know what's on people's minds.
Well, I think the reason why is because really, I don't even really think they understand how just nonsensical the whole performance was. Because the way that I saw it was like Kendrick was kind of mocking the whole idea of everything of it. Like I don't even really think he took it that seriously. But
he was mocking the notion of a Super Bowl halftime performance.
Yeah, because from what I
respect him more if that's the case. That's cool.
Well, from what I know about him, and I've been listening to him for a long time, and up until recently, I thought that the first 4 albums or 3 albums, were pretty good, and I was a big Kendrick Lamar listener, but then, I haven't even listened to the new stuff.
Are you talking about, are those first few albums before 2016?
Let's see. The albums I'm talking about are Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Untitled, Unmastered, and Mr. Moral was kind of whenever he started to drop off a little bit. And then I haven't even listened to anything new from him.
And so what years are those from? Because I don't know. I don't recognize album titles.
Let's see. I think it goes from 08
Okay.
to
Nice.
like 2020.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting.
Yeah. So it was a pretty good run, and I think he had a pretty good run. And now I think, you know, he's getting a little bit older, and he's wanting to like make a statement with his music, but he's so entrenched into being a, you know, platinum award-winning artist that he kind of goes into the category of being a little bit out of touch from where he used to be.
Right. He sold out.
So, sold out. Yeah, he sold out a little bit and dressed up a bunch of people, and they were doing the American flag stuff, and I just really don't understand. Like, okay, like he did a Super Bowl performance. Like, now, so what? You want him to be like some sort of god to you or something? Like, it was a fine performance. That's it.
Nice.
You know what
so
I
you
mean?
thought it
Like,
was fine, though? You thought it was a pretty good performance?
I thought it was just as bad as any of the other Super Bowl performances.
Okay.
Like, they're not meant to be like that great. I think it's just more for the crowd that's in the house. But I mean, it was just as fine, you know. Like, it's doable. But it's not like,
I've never
it was
watched
the next level. Go ahead.
I don't think I've ever watched a full halftime show. I remember seeing bits and pieces when I was a kid of like New Kids on the Block. Oh. And I saw like photographs of that one Hawaiian short guy who did the thing with Maroon 5 or something like that. And I saw little snippets of Beyonce dressing up as Black Panthers. But I've never sat and watched a whole performance. I prefer the commercials. But anyway, yeah. But it's a pretty big deal. It's a big a lot of people tune in. So,
well, that's apparently you know, the big ticket is that, you know, oh, he was mumbling or this and that. And I mean, he was. So that's all that they're saying.
He
was mumbling.
Alex from California said he was cupping the mic so you could so you couldn't even really understand him. But
yeah.
I thought it sounded cool. I like his aggressive style.
Yeah, that was the point of it. You're supposed to kind of go punk rock on it a little bit,
right?
And do things unorthodox.
So, all right,
it was fine. You know, it was just fine. But it's not like next level.
Okay,
it's cool. But can I ask you something else?
Yeah, real quick. I got to wrap up. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, Orthodox Christianity, yay or nay?
I don't have a strong opinion. I think the people who are aggressively pushing it should back off and let people be whatever type of Christian they were raised in, and then see their way out or in or whatever. Don't be all overly searching because of outside pressure or intellectual searching and stuff like that. I was thinking about people who search through ayahuasca retreats and this and that and mushrooms and Buddhism, and the people who search are lost. And I think that let God guide you rather than be so quick to throw away how you were raised. That's what I say. Yeah. So if you were raised Orthodox, stay Orthodox until you see otherwise. If you ever see otherwise, I don't see a reason to go otherwise necessarily. So kind of like what the Bible says, where you were when you were called, remain there and let God guide you from there.
Nice. I like that, man. Well, thank you. That's the exact answer I was expecting, and that exact answer I think I needed to hear, so thank you.
Are you Orthodox?
I'm not. I'm Protestant, but
cool,
I've been
man.
looking into it.
I got to run, man. Good to hear from you.
All right, man. Good to hear from you, too. You take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. Adios, guys. It is Mexican Monday. The Hake Report. Do. Oh, yeah. Mentirosa. Oh, Rick! I gotta get to you tomorrow, man. Call me tomorrow, early.
Eres bien bonita, pero mentirosa.
Liar woman.
Engañas a los hombres, siempre con mentiras, mentirosa, mentirosa. Eres bien bonita,
Pretty,
pero mentirosa.
but a liar.
Engañas a los hombres,
I don't know.
siempre con mentiras,
Shadows?
mentirosa, mentirosa. Sí, señor.
Sí, senor. Mexican Monday.
Esa mentirosa.
This liar woman. Cumbias y más. 95.7.
Eres bien bonita,
Pero mentirosa.
engañas a los hombres, siempre con mentiras, mentirosa, mentirosa. Eres bien bonita,
Pero mentirosa.
engañas a los hombres, siempre con mentiras, mentirosa, mentirosa.
Hopefully he's not saying something bad.
Así,
Así.
bonito Barces.
No, I'll read your super chats tomorrow. Don't you like the energy?
Y te quiero, mi amor. Y te
Mi amor.
amo con loca pasión, pero no lo dices con buena intención, porque tú no tienes corazón. Y te quiero, mi amor. Y te
Hey.
amo con loca pasión,
Scat.
pero no lo dices con buena intención, porque tú no tienes corazón.
Hey, Letty.
Eres bien bonita,
Oh boy.
pero mentirosa. Engañas a los hombres.
I get you tomorrow, Lin Yenchin.
Eres mentirosa, mentirosa. Eres bien bonita, pero mentirosa. Engañas a los hombres, siempre con mentiras, mentirosa, mentirosa.
Gross, Hake. What the heck? Musicians. Now that's what I call music.
Y te quiero, mi amor. Y te amo con loca pasión, pero no lo dices con buena intención, porque tú no tienes corazón. Y te quiero, mi amor. Y te amo con loca pasión, pero no lo dices con buena intención, porque tú no tienes corazón. Y te quiero, mi amor. Y te amo con loca pasión, pero no lo dices con buena intención, porque tú no tienes corazón. Y te quiero, mi amor. Y te amo con loca pasión, pero no lo dices con buena intención, porque tú no
Bye, guys. Take care.